Hello developers, welcome to my video series on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 add-on workflow. Today we'll continue making a fully modular aircraft in 2024. We're going to add some simple animations, and I'm going to make reference to the 2024 SDK aircraft creation checklist, and we're just going to work on the animations for the simple aircraft itself. In the last episodes, we updated the blend file for the 2020 Socata model and reviewed and updated the folder structure by adding the attachments folder with all of the function and part subfolders. We'll do the exterior animations now, and these should be easy as the newer Asobo _EX1 animations for the exterior are similar to the Asobo 2020 versions. The animation names are basically the same and the core code is different, but you don't have to worry about that for now. The only big difference is the XML will be split up into different folders, and basically each of the model folders will have its own XML associated with the part. So the tail part will have an XML, a wing left part will have an XML, etc. So we don't have any doors or cargo doors set yet, and we won't be doing animations for those. They're special animations. We'll need more config files to get them to work with the new 2024 features, like the pre-flight and interactions. We'll need things like navigation graph files and folders, and these will be done in a future episode. For now, we're just going to do these simple exterior animations. Let's start with the tail section. So we'll go to the parts tail and model and so forth. First, we see there's an attachments config file. And if we look at that, there's not much in there because these files are usually just for liveries. We're not going to do liveries, so we're not going to really need this particular file. We'll have a look at the texture folder. Like I said before, all of the textures for all of the parts will be kept in the exterior part texture folder. So all of the textures are kept there. So all we need to do is set up the blend file so that it exports the textures for the first time to the airframe folder, and then from then on we don't need to export any more textures to those folders. Let's look at the DA62 attachments and the tail section. Again, the model folder has the GLTF files, and we have the two tail and behaviors. So if we open up the tail XML, what we get is we get just the LODs. So the LODs for the tail and the compiled behaviors, which is something new. Then include the base tail behavior file. So we'll include that. And then we'll get to the animations. Now that's more like it. So this looks a lot more familiar with animation templates. In Notepad++, we can just hit Alt-2 because I'm going to be at the second level. Alt-2 compresses everything down to something that's a little more manageable to look at. Our first part is bringing in the include files for the Asobo EX1 templates. The parameters function has a parameter function called DA62 closed open settings. So basically it's going to define positions for tooltips for open and closed. Not really sure what on the tail that we have to open and close, so maybe this is just default. The next thing we have is a config component. The parameters here you override, and another use the parameters function, Asobo configuration global parameters. So what that will do is bring in all of the default global parameters that are used in every template. So these will probably be default templates and components in every part XML file. So you can probably see that if we look at other parts, like for the wing example model, we have wing left and right, and then we have wing behaviors. If we bring that in, Alt 2, the config file again, and the DA62 open close, and then all the other files. So the tail component and all of the other XML files are pretty standard. The next part that we have here is the handling. So this looks a lot more familiar. So in the tail we have the elevator, we have the elevator trim, we have the rudder, and we have the rudder trim. We don't have rudder trim in our Socata, so we can ignore this, but basically you're just going to have an Asobo template that interacts with the elevator, and we have some animation names: elevator percent key, trim tab elevator key, rudder percent key, rudder trim percent key. They're using old school animation names in this particular case. Just make sure that your blend file matches the animation names for the control surfaces that you have. After handling, what they have is dirt. So dirt is a new functionality in 2024, and they use templates for that. Pretty straightforward. There are dirt templates with dirt variables, type dirt, runway, regular, mud, dust, etc. We're going to do dirt in a later episode, so we won't do the dirty deeds right now. So after the dirt, we have interactions. The interactions is a new concept in 2024, at least for the exterior, because you're going to actually interact with parts in the exterior. So in this case, we're going to interact with the elevator and interact with the rudder. We can actually touch those parts and move them as part of the pre-flight. Notice that there are some in-base names. That's a new tag, and skeleton elevator. Where have we seen that type of naming? Well, in the blend file. So you're going to interact with the node based on a node name. To summarize then, what we've done is in our Socata project, we've done the same thing as what they have in Asobo's DA62. So we've added all the part files. To those part files, we have to add a couple of folders. Here we won't be using the attachment config. Texture has the texture config file, and remember that's only a fallback to the airframe and all of the default Asobo texture folders. So we have that, and we have the model with the tail, and model with the tail, behaviors, and tail XML. The Socata version uses tail, and tail similar to or the same as the DA62. So there's really no change to anything in here other than maybe comment out the LODs we don't need. And again, the tail behavior for the Socata is the same as what we had with the DA62. So copy those files into the tail and you're done. So let's go back to the blend file and ensure that we have all of the animations all set up. So the animations for the rudder, they're going to be on the empty. So the animation is elevator percent key for the stabulator in our case, not really an elevator. And the rudder will also have a rudder percent key. Stabulator will also have a animation, and so we should add that animation also. But for now, we just have that. We'll go and export the tail grouping. So we have 1, 2, 3 for the tail, and we just export that nice and quick because all we did was export the tail section because we built everything else already. Okay, we updated our Socata blend file, and I just wanted to point out that before we did have something that actually looked like an airplane. Here we have some issues that come up, and I really didn't emphasize this in the last episode, where you need to set the blend file so that the blend information for where the root of the tail is needs to have reset transforms checked off. And the reason that this root, this is the 0 point for the tail, this is the 0 point for the wing root, and you can see I've already got that checked. And then the gear itself needs a check for it to be there because these positions are not at the world origin. They're in a different area. It might be easier to use the tail. See where the tail is? So that's where it thinks the 0 position is, and that matches to the attach points for the tail. So the tail position, attach point, and the root are there. But you have to indicate that this is the 0 point for the actual part that you're going to merge. So let's have that set up again, and we'll do that, and we'll export the tail. I'll also export the gear. We'll see what happens there. There, nice and simple. And there we go. Let's rebuild it. Rebuild the aircraft in the sim. There we go, and look at that. Our aircraft is put back together, so to speak. So we have the tail in the right spot, and we have the rudder in the right spot. So moving the control column, there you go, we have the elevator working, and we have the rudder working also. So the simple animations for the aircraft are really, really easy to do. So now let's do all of the animations, the simple animations for all the other parts. The wing left and right, and the gears center, left, right, the engine, and so forth. We're going to copy all of the files over to the folders associated. So Cicada tail, and I talked about the wings and the wing again, the model. There have the wings, the gear model with the gear, right behavior, etc. So you're just going to keep on doing that over and over. You look at the handling. For the wing, we have aileron percent key left and flaps and so forth. And so the left, let's review the animation. Do I have it set up? No, I have previously we called it handling, so we need to change that to the aileron, and then the flap itself is a handling flap. So let's see what we have. Percent flap. Just make sure everything is matching up. So skeleton flap, and we'll need to do the parts. We'll do the wing, export that, then build the project again. And when we build it, we see that the right wing's still not working, but if we look and we move the aileron and we move the flaps where the flaps are already, can I do them? Yes. And you can see the flap here, and the left wing is down and they move up and so forth. So we have the animation. So what you need to do is basically do the same thing for all the other parts. Okay, so we have all of the pieces now. The aircraft has steering. All right. Can we take off and can we retract the gear? I'm not sure. And 40 knots. Take off, no, yes, take off. Come on, you can take off. I guess not. Oh, there we go. I guess the flight model is not very good at the moment. Oh, look out. Oh, it doesn't look like I have the gear working yet. Anyways, that's what you need to do, is set everything up for simple animations. Make sure that you have the animation names correct. Check your attached objects config. Make sure the name for the nodes is correct. The attach points are matching, and that reset transform is set. And work on it. Try to debug it yourself. Have any problems, put some information in the comments and I'll try to get back to you, or join my Discord. Thanks very much. Well, there you have it. We are closer again to the full Monty in 2024. In our next episode, we'll work on some simple interactions, and we'll try to get some way to do the pre-flight and so forth. Hopefully they're easy to do because they're based on these simple animations. There's still a lot more to do, and we're moving along nicely. Good luck, and see you next time.